Hey. It's Thursday. I was just trying to figure out, how do you tell if it's a leap year? There's no like happy mnemonic that you can step through to say 30 days hath 2000. I'm assuming it's not a leap year, and I'm assuming it's nearly March, which means it's spring. Let's call it spring. Happy spring to you and yours. Beaming to you live from the glorious north of Scotland. Lots to do as ever, so let us do all those things. Now let me check that the microphone's working. Good, yes. Now I have to say yes, do that. Now I have to press the transition button. Oh, it's all very technical. Good Lord. Very advanced stuff, showing you a PowerPoint over the internet. Right, what's on the cards today? Usual things. Let's start off with exciting big news. Regular viewers of this channel will know that last week I said sometime in the far distant future, our wonderful team here will gift you the ability to sort out your Lightning Source spreadsheet of doom in a few simple clicks. With no promises, as ever, as to how quickly or slowly we were going to do that, because the moment you say that there's a deadline, something will go wrong. So it's like a superstitious thing in web development. Just say it's on the way, but don't ever commit to anything. Anyway, it's shipped, it's done. Good. So let's have a look at the Lightning Source spreadsheet, which has landed and which is live. I am on my local computer, as ever. This is Feline Press, so none of this is real. But this is us looking at the reporting area with a usual kind of a filter and this new display that we've got going on here. So I hope, well, you might have seen this in your account already. It appears in the big long list of everything that is already available. So it's another one of these kind of built-in options. And some of our clients have bravely in the past been endeavouring to build this Lightning Source spreadsheet using the custom report feature, you know, articulating your own columns. You can get quite a long way, but, you know, we figured because this is such a ubiquitous spreadsheet within the trade and beyond, and because it's actually vast and endless, you know, let's get us to do it once and then you can reap the happy rewards. So let us have a quick scamper through it. You'll notice first of all the old beta tag there. We are actively soliciting insights on this because it's an integration with somebody else's system, Ingram Lightning Source. Of course, it's subject to the vagaries that we may not be in control of, and it's not an industry standard. It's another company's format. So very, very keen to hear how you get on with it, any funnies in the context of your own data. And you'll see here that we've got some information about, you know, what's going on with this. We, you know, obviously caveat it to say, don't just sort of grab this and walk off. The onus is on you to make sure that everything is as it should be, because this is, you know, the way that you're going to be getting data from Consonance to Lightning Source, who of course don't accept an Onyx message. You'll have to read up about book types. We've made this work by linking them to in-house formats. So if you haven't got your in-house format set up, you're going to see an acre of blank space here. So essentially, if this is solving a problem for you, and if you're using Lightning Source and you're publishing at any sort of volume, then it is. And if you come here and you think, oh, it's so close, if only it was blah, 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 definitely hit the old raise a ticket button, and we will catch up and carry on iterating. So, I mean, I kind of almost don't really want to go through this because it's just it's a massive spreadsheet, which again, if you've seen it, you've seen it. It's got very, very, very many column headings. And it's got the sort of proprietary way of talking about data that is you'll only ever see it in the context of this spreadsheet or maybe other Ingram systems. We've got blank columns here because there are blank columns in the spreadsheet format. The idea of this is that you're able to copy it to the clipboard, boink, go over to your spreadsheet, put your cursor in the first cell where you want to paste the data, paste it in, and then it'll map exactly, and you're not going to have to, fiddle around for another half an hour. So that's why there's blanks there. What other stuff is interesting? They're bound to change these values at some point, aren't they? So that will be a point at which, we will change this to suit, to make it work, but just keep in touch on it, see how it goes. Lots of HTML in a spreadsheet, what could be finer? What else have we got? We've got order type eligibility, lovely. Here's some, really useful stuff. And at least we can get this into them with a spreadsheet, because sitting and typing into a web form for each product is a little trying. So, edging forwards on the old capabilities, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. And I'm just scrolling all the way over to the right. And those are all of the pieces of information that if you've been putting them into Lightning Source manually, you'll not have to do that anymore. Another thing to say is that this is the enormous actual version. And because it goes so far over, we've actually done it also like a less sort of brain melting one called the sidecar condensed list. So let's click on that and see what that looks like. So same crucial information. This is the same information that's going to appear on the other display, but it's just tightened up all of those blanks. It's stripped out the filler, the white space filler that you need to make it work in one hit. So this is a good one to browse at your leisure, and then when you're happy with it, go over there and get the big one, and then have a great time. So I really hope that I know it's going to save some time along the way. And the thing about having one version of the truth is that if there is any inaccuracy or something needs updating on consonants, this sort of exercise will surface it. The alternative is if you go to that spreadsheet and with your human hands or whatever method you use, start filling in another spreadsheet. It's just a recipe for, confusion, error, duplication. Oh, I'll fix it up in this spreadsheet. I've noticed there's a spelling error. But do you ever go back and fix it in the core, the one version of the truth canonical source? So it's all sorts of good reasons why putting information into one system, I would say it doesn't matter which one, of course it is. It's got to be constants. Put it into one system and let that one system send it out to everyone else. And then, data is always going to change, but you change it once and then it flows through. Even when other systems don't yet accommodate the shared standard that we in the book trade are so lucky to have, which is the Onyx standard. Great. So enjoy that. Hopefully that saves a bit of time and effort. Jam's delighted. What are you doing here, Jam? Jam's thrilled that she doesn't have to fill in yet another spreadsheet. Because she works so hard, don't you, Jam? No. I'm sorry. I did do a sweep, but not an effective one. Off you pop, Jam. She's so canny. She gets into little corners and then announces herself. Right, and that was quite early. Normally she sleeps through my monotone for 30 minutes, doesn't she? And then, anyway, great. She's so excited, you see, by the possibility of etc. Right, expertise. A quick one this week. Not least because I am so, I was going to say busy. It's not so much busy. I am so anticipatory of the London Book Fair that I feel like I'm very short on time this week. So this is a quick look at something to do with expertise. And then maybe normal in-depth, thorough preparation will resume the week after the London Book Fair. We can but hope, can't we? So let us have a look at the open access bit of the metadata page within Consonance. Let's go to this over-titled Cats at Large. You can tell I was interested in making sure that long titles fit into pages. So Cats at Large, large. Let's go to the metadata page because, if you're doing open access, then I sincerely hope you know that information can be communicated within the ONIX standard. But I'm not sure that we've ever looked at it on a live stream. And I thought, well, it's a string to the bow, isn't it? It is a marker of being at the forefront of publishing thought. And I suppose because my mind is turning to the book fair, you build up this story of who you are, don't you? What's our point of difference in the market? What are we doing? And, for us, it's things like we are entirely focused on making the user interface of Consonance as accessible as possible to as many different people as possible. We do not charge by module. We are a delight to work with, etc. The stories that you build. And so if you're publishing in the open access licensing, it's part of the narrative that we all will be doing when we're at the book fair, sort of comparing notes with people. So metadata page for any old product here. Let us type into the filtery bit the word open, and that will whittle down the page to the open access area. So it's in publishing. If I blank out that search there, then the alternative way to get to that region is I can go to publishing and I can scroll down and I'll see open access there. So it's probably worth getting into the habit of using, the filters like this, because they do, the cursor usually settles in it when you load the page, even though that can present some problems. But it's if you let your fingers do the talking, I find it less of a strain on the wrists than the trackpad on a laptop. So this is what the open access bit looks like, and we've got precious little information here at the moment. So let's click edit and see what the options are. So first of all, we can say what's the open access license type that we're talking about. And can't imagine there ever being a case where a publisher called Feline Press publishing a work called Cats at Large would be making it open access. And so as this is set up currently, this is entirely correct, because this is not an open access licensed work or product. But if it were, then we can select from the list here. And by the way, that's the appropriate thing to do. If you are hoping to communicate to the trade that this work and or product, this work actually, is not open access, then this is what the settings should look like. There is no license for open access on this work. And there's a absolutely amazing woman in the Ruby programming community called Sandy Metz, and she does the best conference talks. She is wise and funny and brilliant. And one of her talks, a famous talk, is called Everything. Oh, is it Everything is Something, or Something is Not Nothing? I should have looked up exactly what it was. You see, she should leave her to do the great talking. But the point is that there's kind of no such thing as an absence of information. If something is does not have a license type, it's not that there's no license type, it's that there's a license type of none. Do you know what I mean? So like leaving things blank can sometimes be a bit misleading, and we'll come on to that when we talk about pricing in a moment. So it's like an affirmative statement to say, yes, there is no license. That was an old World War II song, wasn't it? Yes, we have no bananas, or something. So none license type, but you can choose these. Now, if you're publishing in open access, then chances are you know all about what these types of license are. If you need a helping hand, then you can go to the link in the help there. Learn all about Creative Commons licenses there. All very good. So let's say, pick the first one on the list. We're going to be licensing this work in this manner. Next question, mark as free. Mark as free? And it's saying no, it's not marked as free. And if we say yes, then it is marked as free, because a price of £0 doesn't necessarily mean it's free. It's a price of £0, but there's not an absolute link between those two things. And the absence of a price is even more not the same thing. If there's no price given in the Onyx, are you implicitly saying that that's free? Well, no, that you're not. That would be a leap too far, I think. So let's have a look at the help actually. It says toggle on if products that have no prices set should be marked in Onyx as being free. Left as no, they will be treated as having no defined price. So there is a difference, it's that this option is allowing you to explicitly say, yes, they are free, as opposed to there's no price, because it's not the same thing. It's not quite the same thing. Point is, puts you in control over exactly what message you want to send out. What's next? Open access funding bodies. So we can either do a job lot of crediting and noting in the Onyx feed which body has funded the publication of this work. And so the sorts of entities that are going to exist in this drop down are organisations. So that's what is going on there. You can have that sort of job lot level funding body, or you can split it out into, well, these people funded the publication and these other people funded the research. Again, it's at the organisation level, not individual humans, not a record that represents an individual human person. But it allows you to sort of make that distinction if that's important, because of course, crediting the entities that funded the work is a very important aspect of ensuring that open access is a methodology that is going to work. So that's how you enter this information on the page. As with any kind of contact drop down that you see within consonants, if you don't see your option on the list here, do not throw your hands up and think, oh, what a drag. I'm going to have to go all the way over to wherever it is to enter a new record for bigfund.inc, and then I'm going to have to come all the way back here. No, it's fine. Bigfund.inc, however it goes. You can enter as an option, and you can add that right here so that you don't have to faff around going all the way over there. So that is all good. Once you have entered your information there, actually, did I save it? Because I was going to say, once you've entered your information there, you can go and find it within the search area. And I never actually saved. So let's save. That's great. And I'll need to put a funder in actually. Bestsellers, lovely. So now I can make my way over to the reporting area, and I can use that information to whittle down and filter the information should I need to? So, you know, when you go here, type in open, and you're going to see all of the different sorts of ways that you can triangulate your data through the information that you've put in on the metadata page. And it's, you know, it's just like that for every sort of information that we have. Once you've put it into the system, it's kind of like it's the whole point of the exercise, isn't it? It's not just data in a field somewhere. It can be put to use in your work here. So that can be quite useful. And it can also appear on PDFs, advanced information exports and that sort of thing, and in custom reports. So it's another sort of piece of information that is useful to store, and then it can be used in multiple different ways. Yes, in Onyx. Yes, in making sure that you've got the ability to analyse and surface information. Yes, in custom reports and in advanced information sheets. So that was a very brief yet interesting look at open access within Consonance. And, you know, again, I wanted to pop that on the list because how marvellous it is to be pioneers in 2026, and I suppose 2016 onwards, isn't it? 2015 onwards. Pioneers in new ways to get the rich words of our authors from their research into the hands of people that need them. Very excellent indeed. Another thing that struck me when I was thinking about the London Book Fair, you know, getting excited, is that it's kind of pitched as a rights trading fair, and I guess that was its origin. There's a lot of other stuff that goes on, and depending on sort of where you orient yourself, and depending on what the fair means to you, I think you can look at it in a lot of different ways. When I go to the fair with my Snowbooks hat on, I am sort of inundated quite often with people from the printing industry hoping to share their unique selling points, hoping to share their story. And we've had some, you know, fantastic discoveries of new partners that we can work with, who are able to say, you know, look, we've got this amazing binding line just opened. We've got this incredible integration with such and such a thing. I found a printer who had one of the last presses that printed long grain, which is when, you know, the book sort of falls open beautifully. So this won't do it. Look, this is just, am I on the screen actually? Let me show you. How do I switch? There we go. Yeah, so when you hold a book up like that, it doesn't kind of flop open. But if it was printed long grain lithographically, it would pleasingly fall to the side without breaking the spine, and it would all be exactly as a book should be. This looks actually not quite, but you know what I mean. So there will be lots of printers hanging around, and sometimes it's really great to be prepared to get the most out of that interaction. So let us have a quick look at the production run area within Consonance. Just a few ideas for what you might want to do in the next week to prepare to be ready to talk to people about that. So we'll go to the main menu, and I've immediately clicked on the wrong thing. We'll go to the main menu and we'll go to production runs. Such a pro. Because we're going to look at the sort of information that one can store for a production run. Now, we call that production runs because you could, in high theory, use this page to store information about the process of producing CDs, cassettes, digital downloads, e-books, but it does tend to have a very large number of print-specific information on this page. So yes, it's a production run. It's very tailored. It's very sort of oriented towards print, if that's the way that the product is being produced. So let's have a look at one of these, and let's just scamper through the sorts of things that are available. So some delivery dates and some press dates. all of these are put-inable. You might want to articulate the press date as well as the delivery date, because that's an important date to be able to key everyone's schedules against. You might want to articulate who the printer is, and use the fact that they are a record. They are represented as a record within your one version of the truth, with all of the ancillary information that comes along with that, like what else have they printed, where are they based, and so on. Then we've got information about line items on orders, and I think we covered this in a live stream about a month and a half ago, or did I dream it? I'll go and check, and if we didn't, then I'll do a proper job of it another time. But if you are receiving in orders and you're printing to order, then this is an integration between that concept and actually storing the specification of what's being printed where and when. And then we've got spec information, and this is the most informative stuff for when you're talking to printers at the book fair. Because oftentimes what you'll end up doing is saying, that all sounds really interesting, could you send me a quote for an example? And they'll say, yes, absolutely, just send me the specs. And then you think, oh, yet another email I have to now send on my follow-up. But you could come to your one version of the truth where you have added production run information already, and then you can get it out in this sort of format and send it on to them. So that was my thinking there. Red? Why not red? Red. Print instructions here. There are more free text fields on this page than I think in anywhere else within Constance. We don't like free text fields. They tend to creep, don't they? A notes field on a contacts record. Goodness me, the stuff that can find its way into that. VAT numbers, information about, changes of addresses, all sorts of things that rightly belong in structured data or some sort of structured data field. But, with production, sometimes you do want to be a bit discursive, to say, you might want to say in print instructions here, last time you messed up the width of the French flap, so check again that it's 80mm, not 60, for heavens' sakes. And this is all information about the interior of the book. By that I mean the paper, this paper. So we're able to spec the interior paper and say some things about its origin. We're also able to say information about the cover stock as well. So the cover stock will be something different that you can specify separately. And you're probably going to be saying, well, depends how much money you've got, but you're probably saying it's 4x0 rather than 4x4 or 1x1 for the interior. I'll also just mention that you can have different products on your different print runs as well. So this one that I've clicked through on is actually set up just for the audio file. So you can have a production run for the audio, you can have a production run that combines the print, the hardback and the paperback. And then in the binding area, you could put some notes in to say, can you please split this on the binding line? So we're going to print the paper block. It's identical for the hardback and the paperback. But then if you split that run just before binding, then we'll save a little bit of money. And that, if that's something that you've agreed with your printer, that'd be helpful and efficient. Yeah, so plenty of information about bindings here. You'll notice that there's drop downs as well. These are not to constrain you. These will feature values that you've put in on previous production runs. So if you want to say, this is going to mess up my data actually, hang on. not trimmed. If I want to say not trimmed, then next time I go to buttons behind my YouTube thing. Next time I go to edit another production run, then I'm going to have that option available. So it's a bit of a lightweight values list where you can keep adding things, but you're not going to have to, try and fit yourself into one particular model, because just like we're talking about Lightning Source having their own spreadsheet, every single printer has their own values list, don't they, and their own exact vocabulary, and flexibility I think is absolutely key here. And we do not have an agreed Onyx standard for print specifications. It's all a bit not quite as drop downy clicky as all that. So yes, so if you've been diligently putting in your production run information like this, and if you're at the London Book Fair, and if you find yourself saying, that sounds really interesting, I'll send you a sample spec and you can send me a price, then building up to the point of this chat, which is you can copy all of that information to the clipboard, and then you can go over to your email, and then you can paste it in, and you don't have to type in all of the stuff that you'd already typed in on your thing there. You can obviously do the same for generating production runs as well, print orders I should say. So that's again another kind of put it in once, use it a number of different times. But it's funny, isn't it, that I don't think I've ever seen sort of the advertising for the London Book Fair being anything to do with meet new printers. Or maybe I'm just not looking in the right place. But it's everyone comes together, and we need to be prepared for anything, and then not be exhausted the following week when we're doing all of our follow-up. We need to get these computers to work for us as much as we can. Great, so that was a little snippet on production runs. It was a very light look as well. We don't really look at that area very often, so maybe we'll do some proper bits on that in after book fair times, when everything gets a bit more calm. Right, more questions at LBF, and I was again, imagining what it would be like sitting at your impossibly small table for your next 25-minute conversation, and I was thinking more now about people voicing interest in your products. It could be for rights, it could be for some promotion that you're talking about. You might be talking to an industry body and they might say, well, what's coming up next year? It might tie in with some of our initiatives. And so I thought I'd just run through that little scenario. Of course, all of this is made fairly improbable because of Olympia's Wi-Fi capabilities. I don't know about you, but I am not rich enough to be paying for the official Wi-Fi connectivity at the London Book Fair. I shall be depending on my phone and hope that 4G and 5G are going to keep me tethered. But it's not a given that mobile phone reception or any sort of reception is even possible in the strange world of the book fair. So this does rely on you having an internet connection. Not me, actually, because this is a database hosted locally, so I'm all right. And which you will find out if you come and talk to us at the London Book Fair, and I'll do a little plug for that later on. So let's have a think about how that conversation could go. So hello, very exciting. What's keeping busy? What are you publishing next year? And so you might bring up your reporting capability tool, and as you're talking, you would be saying, oh, that's a great question. Yes, we've got some fantastic things coming up in the next year. And you hit search because you've done a quick search. In fact, we're very busy next year. 5,000... Oh, actually, hang on. On next year. Next year. How many products are you publishing next year? We're publishing... Oh. Oh, maybe it's after today. Okay. We're not publishing anything next year, but in the next quarter, we are very busy indeed. Is it going to be the next quarter or the next half year? I have to figure out where my date is. In the next quarter, we are publishing 4 products. How interesting. What are they? Well, we've got some wonderful products about cats on the sea. Very interesting indeed. And what about, later on in the period of time that is on or after today? Yesterday. What are you doing? What after the exciting Cats Ahoy is done? Well, we've got lots on the agenda after that. Quite a heavy focus on on a certain genre, but it's all looking really exciting. Oh yeah. So what about are you publishing anything just to do with like cats as a pet? Well, let's have a think. I've certainly seen some interesting things on my colleagues' desks, but if we have a look at cats as pets, which, as I understand it, is the focus of your activity next year, we've got 26 products coming out, books coming out next year. Because you don't say products at the book fair. God, you say books, and forget the problems that will cause. Yes, lots of different publications coming out to do with cats as pets next year. We're looking to do some, really premium kind of activity. We don't want anything that's too cheap. So have you got plenty of products that are, in the sort of £10 range? Yes, well, we've got quite a few that are going to be more than that amount of money. Yes, it's all looking great. We've got 24 of those, so maybe I will send you the list and you can see if there's any you want to promote. Yes, that'd be great. So then you copy it to the clipboard and you go over to your email and you paste it in, or you can say, of course, I mustn't forget that this is the list of products that such and such a person was really interested in. So list for Susan, post LBF 26, and then you've captured there what they were particularly interested in, and then either now or later you can go and generate your advanced information sheets to send them over, or you can get that out into the custom report format that you've prepared the week before. All sorts of things. So, as a kind of rapid fire way to tunnel into your data, to be able to respond quickly to questions, I think it's quite plausible. But, very best of luck with maintaining an internet connection. And I suspect anyway that you're not going to have your computer there. You're going to be, waving your arms around and using your catalogue, which you will have already produced from Constance, right? After the book fair, I will show you some incredible catalogues that have been kindly shared with us by our customers, who have been excitedly producing all sorts of incredible layouts with, straight from Constance. So I'm going to probably get quite emotional at the fair, going around and seeing people's incredible sales materials and say, oh, we did that, we helped with that. Look at how beautiful. Look at the honour that we have given to these incredible works, other people's blood, sweat and tears, all of their writing, and the publishing teams who have worked so hard to bring them to market. We have played our part in that. We have not let them down. So I am going to be looking forward to that feeling. Right, that's probably enough about questions at LBF. You could bear in mind, of course, that me and Dave are going to be at the London Book Fair, and you might have questions for us. And I was just going to mention, I wouldn't mind at all receiving them in advance. Some of our clients have very kindly sent along a big pick list already to say, these are the things top of mind. You could do that, and then if there's anything that needs preparing, I can have prepared. But otherwise, you could just swing by and say hi, and that would be completely delightful as well. Great. Speed outlines. This is a story about speeding through the interface, and it's linked very heavily to our ongoing ambition to make sure that as many people as possible can access their data through the Consonants interface without having to pull their hair out. So you'll see this, I think it's shipped to production. You'll see this if you open up your account and you start tabbing through elements on the interface. So I'm here on the home page, and you can, well, you might not be able to see, but I have tabbed and achieved focus on view all existing to-dos. So it's kind of a built-in browser feature. I'm now tabbed onto view all visited. Because if you don't do any styling with CSS, the default browser settings will make sure that when you tab through, oh God, am I right in this? I think I'm right. I'm going to look at my phone to see if my esteemed colleague tells me. If you don't put any styling on a browser, then it's going to default to putting an outline around elements that have achieved focus by the user tabbing through. So, and it's just a fantastically helpful thing, isn't it, to know where you are on the page? Because if I now press enter when when I've got focus on this big link here, then I'm going to go to that page. And so it's a very necessary tool if you're going to use the keyboard to navigate around a website. So tab, 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 pressing buttons. I press the space bar there. That opened the menu there. Tab, 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 going through there. I mean, you know how tabbing works, but that's a thing that we have put in. We have paid some attention to how the outlines appear, and so that we're not kind of overriding any important core behaviour that the browser is trying hard to give you. It will marry up with when you're using VoiceOver and other screen readers. You'll be on these fields, and that's what the screen reader will be telling you. We've tried to strike a bit of a balance. There's no padding on here, but which I don't know. It's not completely amazing how that looks, but equally you definitely don't want the whole screen to start shifting when you're tabbing through. We're using outline, not border, so there isn't going to be a shift. But we wanted to make sure that we're giving you outlines as soon as possible, and then we'll iterate on any that look a bit funny. So speed your way through the interface, noticing the outlines, marrying them up with what your screen reader's telling you, and let us know if you've noticed a bit where it's missing or not quite doing what you would like it to do, not being sort of effortlessly expressive. That's what we're aiming for there. But this is the accessibility journey, isn't it? There's always more work to be done. There's always iterations, and you have to keep your eye on the ball with it all. Keep going. So as ever, we're always very, very keen to hear feedback on that. Great. So, and I've pressed tab and on a piece of software that doesn't help me see where I am. That's all right. So next week it will be the Thursday before the book fair. So I kind of half reserve the right to just not show up on this on the live stream. Like I say, I'm not actually busy. I just feel very energised and keen to make sure that I've done all of my prep. And if you do find a moment to drop us a line and let us know the sorts of questions that you'll be keen to talk about, then I might be busy servicing those. So all being well, we will see each other next week, won't we? At this time, but otherwise, there certainly won't be a live stream from the book fair. Oh my goodness, can you imagine? So next week might have one. The following week definitely won't have one. And then we're back to normal. And then it's the big long dragged Christmas, isn't it? Whew. Right, so have a good one. Let us know any last minute things you need help with before the fair. You know, have you done your rights guide yet? Have you got your tick lists? Have you got your spreadsheets exported out of the system? Have you got your print information ready like we talked about today? Just any last minute things that suddenly occur to you, let us know. We'll be standing by to help. Have a fantastic fair if you're going. I mean, so LBF centric, isn't it? I just assume that everyone is going. Of course everyone's going. But if you're not going, then we will be working hard on your behalf to make sure that we're keeping our ear to the ground on the latest happenings. Oh, and I guess I should say where we are, shouldn't I? I really must get round to tarting up the page on the LBF thing. We are on stand. Let me see. Oh, sorry. Again, other people's software. We're it won't work. We are on stand 5G103, wherever that is. It's all changed this year, and then even more change next year with Excel. Good Lord. Yes, so come and find us there, or drop me a line, and we can get a time in the diary so that we don't miss each other. But yeah, that's where we are, and we shall look forward to seeing you there. All right, enough blather. Got things to do. Right, have a good week. See you later. Bye.